Hello there, my name is Akshat. I'm the founder of a content agency, Content Flow, and now also the founder of a online community, The Journey Club, a new company that I'm building with my good creator friend, Saksham. Now, as you can see, I am back in my hometown, Chittorgarh. You probably already have seen a lot of good B-rolls of Chittorgarh Fort and me working out, so you have some context. But if you can see over here, this is the Chittorgarh Fort. I'm sitting in my bedroom. Grateful for the view I have, to be honest. So I moved back to Chittorgarh, Rajasthan for next 6 months because I fucking can, right? And that's the life that I always wanted to build for myself. But jokes apart, I moved back because I'm getting married in January, around 8, 9, 10 January, not sure yet. But I just wanted to, move back to my hometown because we just built a new home in my hometown. Everything is pretty over here. And I just wanted to take these last 6, 7 months of my bachelor life. I wanted to spend that life with my, school friends. I wanted to spend that time with my parents because let's be honest, life changes when you have a significant other, when you have the partner and you are building your own life separately, right? So I'm beyond grateful to be able to make the move where I'm able to leave one city, move back to my hometown, build from over here, and still nothing is changing in my life, right? And that is the life that I have built for myself, that I always wanted to build for myself. Now, I just wanted to tell you a really quick story and how I was able to build a life where I have freedom of time, location, and money, right? So, see, I come from a lower middle class family. I have never been in a situation where I have to pay for my family's bills or take care of my family financially. And that's the reality, that's where the real authenticity is, because I would not want to position myself in a certain way of creating a rags to rich story. I come from a lower middle class family. After COVID, my family have done even better. So the things have even gotten easier for me in terms of I never had to think about providing for the family, right? Now, if I join my family's business today, I would be making 10x more money than I make, probably, hopefully, right? But the thing is that who wants to take the easier path? If I do that, that'd be the easiest thing that I could do in my life, and that'd be the easiest thing that I can settle for. But I never wanted to do that. I still do not want to do that because of the dreams, because of the vision, because of the freedom. Like when you do something which is already stable, which is already been built by your grandparents or your parents, there is no beauty, there is no drive, there is no passion in building it beyond that, right? And I'm not saying that's true for everyone, that's true for me. I always wanted to build something of myself, right? And being very honest, I've never took a single penny from my family to be able to build what I have been able to build in the last 2.5 and 3 years. In 2021, I moved out to Mumbai with one of my friends. I lived a really great life over there, built a lot of connections with people, was able to scale my company Content Flow to a really good extent, which I'm still scaling, by the way. We are in complete scale mode. So yeah, the idea always was to build a life of freedom in terms of freedom of time, freedom of money, and freedom of location, right? And I was able to do that in the last 2 to 3 years. I just quickly want to talk about how I was able to do it as someone who comes from a small town. See, I am a small town boy, okay? I come from Chittorgarh, Rajasthan. यहाँ पे इंग्लिश में लोग बातें नहीं करते थे. आई हैड नो सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस. में जाके किसी दूसरे इंसान से कॉन्फिडेंटली कभी बात नहीं कर पाता था. एंड दैट इज़ ट्रू सिंस up until I was actually in the college. उससे पहले it used to be small town, like we had no exposure whatsoever. Social media भी उतना उस टाइम पे relevant नहीं था, right? So I just feel if you really want anything from your life, you have to have sheer brute force in terms of how you achieve things or how you look at things. Because the thing is that if you come from a small town like me, you would have a lot of foundations around you in terms of how people think, how people act, how people behave. And some of those things are gonna get so deeply engraved in your wiring that you would not even notice. And that is where the idea of brute force comes into play. The idea of brute force is not just in physical execution, but also कि तुम mentally चीज़ों को कैसे approach करते हो. And that is where books came to rescue for me. I started reading so many books, started learning about the world in general, POV of some of the greatest entrepreneurs, founders, creatives, artists, athletes of our times. And I used to get very different perspectives about life and how people are essentially, kind of taking their life forwards and how they're building their own life and things that they dreamt of. Coming from small town, I used to not dream bigger, to be very honest. People around me used to think very big. People just are very happy in terms of living a decently good life, having social circles where they chat, have fun, eat good food, healthy food, travel here and there every now and then, and that's the life. And a lot of people still till this date enjoy that life. I enjoy that life as well every now and then, but that's the life of comfort, right? And I never wanted to live that comfortable life. I had to brute force my way into this life that I built for myself, and I'm still not there yet, to be very honest, guys. I'm still building, and there are a lot of mountains that I still need to climb. But this idea of brute force is something that I think about a lot these days. It doesn't matter where you are, which situation you are in, you can brute force your way to a completely different life, right? And brute forcing today has gotten easier with AI, with books, with internet, with social circles, with social media, with online communities, because you can find people who think like you, and you have the resources available for free on the internet that would allow you to execute, with that brute force. So you are able to essentially do things that you want to do. And even if there are people who are not doing anything that you want to do, you have the internet, right? So that's the beauty of brute forcing your way to life in terms of being able to build a life that you always wanted to build. So yeah, like I have brute forced a lot. I have done things that were completely against what my family wanted me to do. In COVID, I just left my job without telling my parents. I told it to them, and they just went mad at me. They were like, people are losing the jobs, people are not even getting the jobs, and you here left your job, right? And which was completely absurd to them. But I was able to do that because I knew that I would be able to do something different. I had self-belief in myself. I took that leap of faith. And then all I did was brute force. Like when I left my job, I was not making single penny. I just had one client paying me around $400, $500 a month or so. But I had bigger dreams. I wanted to travel the world, which I have been able to do in the last 2 and 3 years. So I'm literally living the life of 18-year-old Akshat, right? Like what he used to dream of. And the reason why I was able to do that essentially was just because of, me not settling, having that sheer belief in my abilities and belief in the vision that I had for myself. And then obviously brute forcing through it. Like the vision is not enough if you don't sit down, if you do not get emotionally mature enough to be able to do things even when you do not feel like doing things. Especially for me, like people don't talk about this because when you come from, let's say, a privileged family, you have no reason to work hard, right? Because everything is already presented for you. But still finding the courage, still finding the reason to be able to do it, it's a completely different challenge that, let's say, a person who doesn't come from a decently good family or comes from a very rich family won't understand, right? So middle class can only understand the pain of middle class is what I would say, right? Like when you're middle class, you're always aiming for something higher. And when you're doing that, there is a lot of suffering because you're never satisfied with what you have. Somebody who is poor, a lot of them might have expected their reality, right? And so they find happiness in what they have. Rich people are rich, they have their own set of challenges, but they have a lot of capital, they have a lot of money, they have some sort of privileges in life that middle class just always chase and always aim for, right? So as a middle class, there are different challenges that you face in your life. And I had my own set of challenges as well. Because coming from a small town, like you do not get to have those heart-to-heart conversations with your family, let's say, or with your father, because the culture is very traditional in that form. And you do not openly talk to your parents, you just need to figure everything out on your own. Nobody is coming to save you in terms of becoming your mentors, right? Like in the upper middle class or rich families, like your family or your father or your mother, they become your mentor. They sit down, they talk to you, right? That was not the case for me. My family did their best to put me in a good college, and then I had to just figure everything out on myself, right? Like in terms of mentally, how I think about the life, what are the things that I need to do. Obviously, they gave me some sort of mental models for life in terms of, you don't have to cheat anyone, or you don't make money by doing wrong things, or you believe in God and all those sort of things. But I had no one that I can go to talk about what's going in my mind, and I had to figure everything out myself. And I have been able to figure that out through books, through internet, and through executing my will through life, right? Like if I would have never executed, regardless of what I had and what I not had, I would have never been able to move out of this small town that I live in, that I have always used to live in. I would have never been able to travel the world. I would have never been able to make the money that I make. I would have never been able to buy things that I now am able to buy for my family, right? So if you are listening to me till now, you come from a small town, from a tier 3 city of India or tier 2 city of India, you feel like you do not even know how to speak in English properly, it's fine. मैं अभी यहाँ पे बैठ के इंग्लिश में तुम्हें ज्ञान दे रहा हूँ या फिर मेरी स्टोरी बता रहा हूँ जो भी कर रहा हूँ, मुझे नहीं आती थी इंग्लिश बोलना यार. लाइक आई नेवर न्यू हाउ टू प्रॉपरली फ्रेम सेंटेंसेज. आई स्टिल डू नॉट नो, राइट? लाइक अभी भी तुम देखोगे अगर जाके तो मैं रैंडमली इंग्लिश में मिस्टेक्स कर रहा होता हूँ, बट नो बडी गिव्स अ फक, राइट? लाइक आई कैन डिलीवर माई इंग्लिश वेन एवर इट मैटर्स. सो या, इफ यू आर लिस्निंग टू दिस, everything is possible. You just need to believe in yourself. You have the internet, you have no fucking excuse whatsoever, right? Like whatever you say is gonna sound like an excuse. You have the internet, it's almost free at this point, right? You can learn whatever the fuck you want to learn. You can change the way you think about the world regardless of what sort of people are around you, right? And if you need even better way to do it, you should always think about joining some sort of communities. We have a great community, the Journey Club, that you can think about joining. I'll put the link in the description. I'm not selling by any means. If you feel like it can be helpful for you, you can just consider it, right? And so yeah, brute force your way. Be emotionally mature as you're growing up. You know, read more books in terms of changing your mental models about life and how you think about life. It could be fiction, it could be non-fiction, it doesn't fucking matter, okay? I'm not a kind of a person who is always inclined towards non-fiction. And that's pretty much the idea. You just need to figure your shit out. You can figure your shit out, especially with the internet and social media. So that's my quick story. I don't know if I did a good job in telling that story or not. Probably I did not. But the idea was just to sit down today, tell you a quick story because I'm back in my hometown, you know, and I was just reflecting on the life that I was able to build for myself. Everything has changed since I left home, but now I'm back again. I'm feeling great. You're going to get a lot of cinematic B-rolls in my videos because, to be very honest, I'm not a cinematographer, but the place I live in is just cinematic as fuck at this point. So I'm going to just shoot cinematic B-rolls here and there, and I'm just going to talk about things like these, you know. Like today it was my story. From second episodes onwards, I just want to talk about the things I'm building, what are the problems I'm facing, and what are the solutions that I'm finding, how I'm executing, and how I'm kind of progressing in my life. So yeah, this is pretty much the idea for this new series, which is Founders Mode. This was episode number 1. I'll see you in the second episode. Bye-bye.